morning and welcome to Advanced Business Workshop. It is Tuesday. Every Tuesday, we get together and learn, some of the best idea and strategy to help you to building, and expanding your business in today's changing market. It's one of the most challenging time, and in our lifetime that we ever experienced. And so we went through multiple lessons, helping you anything from customer acquisition to follow up to making effective professional presentation, business planning, goal setting, and not only learning high skill of earning more, but it's also helping you to invest into real estate in today's market, right? So I wanted to share with you a subject. It's very important, right? So you all know that I completed over 3,000 transactions in services for clients here locally. For those that working with me in the past, whether it's my client, business entrepreneur that I train and coach, right? So we used to have 146 members, and with 28 different dialogue. So diversity is something that I am embracing, right? As a leader in the industry, and I do think that diversity very important in the growth of your company in terms of production and services to your client. So today, today the subject that I wanted to share with you is the understanding the personality style, in which that apply to every client, every situation, and that the client that we're working with, right? And also understanding that, I take for example, the USA, the USA demographics is very diverse, right? And we have over 110 million people in the United States out of 340 million people. So what is population? So about one third of our population is immigrant, right? So right here in the neighborhood of where we are, right here in the neighborhood of where we are in Seattle, Washington, according to the Census Bureau, right? We have 44+% of property owner and commercial property owner, residential property owner is an immigrant, right? So I say for example, working for Microsoft and Amazon, great company here locally here. The workforce is very, very diverse. So, for example, we have East India folk coming from India. We have the area market like Federal Ways or Edmond. We have a very strong Korean community. And then we have this part of Southeast Seattle. We have a lot of we have very high population of Vietnamese and Chinese, and then we have African American. So what we do is that we operating in the very diverse market, right? So coming from the client perspective is also important. So understanding the culture of where the client coming from, and then could think about like if you're gonna be in a situation, for example, I will go on a professional presentation that I approaching, that the people that different than myself, right? So, so I really, if I walk into their office, if I walk into their home to make a professional presentation, I have to understand where they're coming from, what their culture is, right? And so the culture of the Asian, the immigrant, for example, is different than American born here in the USA. But if we're gonna stay with who we are, and it really hard for you to connect with your client, right? So how to do connect with your client that's different than who you are. Because over the year, owning and operating the Prudential and Windermere, the uh, the 10 I always have to say, if I were to add if I were to coach an entrepreneur and ask them where is your business coming from, most of the people their business coming from one source, the people they know they comfortable to work with, right? So, but in this sector here, in this section here, we train you how to expand your business. Expanding your business, working, not just your sphere of influence, your client, the people that know you, like you, but really expanding your business out and really work with a different client that different than you who you are, right? So that's the cultural aspect of it that we're going to be touching base on today. I wanted to share with you, personality style, right? So the statement, like over the over the 22 years in the training and coaching, to professional sale, the average, the client is losing a lot of business transaction due to the fact that they cannot identify the personality style of the person that they are working with, right? Or they understand, or they have the versatility to adapt to the person that they're working with. So what I'm going to share with you is the four basic, personality style. Then that this is coming from great information from top training and coaching in North America. From Mr. Larry Wilson to Mr. Mike Ferry. That's sharing this great information at the management retreat, management academy training, right? So this information is gonna it's about the personality, but how to become stronger, how to become more productive and more profitable, right? So the catch here is not about that people are different than you are. The catch here is your ability to adapt to your client, in what I call the versatility. And in the past, right? I work with 146 different entrepreneurs, but it's coming from like our office for decades. If you walk into our Windermere International office, you saw that we have 28 different dialogue, right? So as a leader, I adapt myself to client, to work with. And my clientele are the same, right? And so I'm asking you to do the same in the quest of more production and more income in the changing market. So when you identify the four basic personality style, you need to identify which one you are, right? Whether you a driver, right? Most of the people want to call themselves like they are the driver, and then you look at like expressive personality style. You will also look at amiable personality style. And then you look at the analytical personality style, which we are dealing with a lot, especially in Seattle and the Bay Area, where a lot of people are working at high-tech industry, right? So engineering, doctor, those personality style. So since each of us have an individual personality style, right? So you really have to identify who you are. And so the catch here is how versatile you are, right? And your ability. So what is versatility, right? So when I say you go on a presentation, on an apartment listing with an Indian customer, right? And you are you're born right here in the U.S. It's very culture different, right? So if I were to ask a professional to go out and making a multi-million-dollar presentation to a homeowner that's not American boat and from different culture, and so what do you really have to be prepared in understanding other people's personality by talking to them, getting to know them, because before you showed up, right? Because people do business with people that they like, right? So the rapport building and get to know your client. So the versatility. So it's not what type of personality you are. It's about the versatility, about your ability to adapt, to variety of people in variety of situation, in variety of way, right? So you can see that as a leader in the industry, over 22 years, that's what I'm dealing with, as a CEO and an owner, with 140 plus people that I have to train and coach, over 3,000 clients that we're dealing with, right? So, your ability to adapt to the client that you're dealing with, very important in the growth of your business, right? So, you know you are born with the personality, the style, and generally it's not going to change, right? You're born with a certain degree of versatility that you can change dramatically if you chose to change and acknowledge the people and the situation and the way, stating that you are the mature in the people, the side of business and the communication, and versatility can be increased. And the catch here is versatility, right? So, the challenge that each of us facing is like being comfortable who you are, and taking the time get to know and understand the client that you're talking to, and then adapt ourselves to them so that we can communicate with our client in the higher level, right? So it's our ability to adapt quickly that will cause our business to grow at a higher level, right? So, when like you heard, people are saying like, I did not feel comfortable with that person, right? When I coaching a Windermere real estate entrepreneur, and then I ask them a question, where your business coming from? Most of the people would ask me like, okay, 90% coming from the people that I know, and if I were to work with for example, the Vietnamese entrepreneur in real estate, I say, where your business coming from? Well, all my business is coming from the community, people that like me, speak the same language, but like, and then I work with an American bone. They would say like, where your business coming from? Well, my business coming from the people that know me. And I look through and look at the past transaction. I say most of the business is coming from the people that like you, right? But the catch here is versatility. Understanding the culture and understanding the personality style, and be versatile, adapt yourself to the client. Because example for myself, because I operated and I work and I train and I coach with many different coming from different culture and background and language and culture and custom, right? So your ability to do that is called versatility. That can really help you to communicate at the higher level, right? Because you got to really look at it and say, if you're gonna walk into a presentation, make a professional presentation, whether it's gonna be a $10 million, listing, whether you're working with your client, understanding that very, very important, right? So coming from the client perspective, not your perspective, Um, so if I want to bring the people to my side, rather than have them to adapt to me, the quicker I adapt to them, it makes the stronger communication, and it will improve the result. I back in the old day, when I came to America, I didn't know a soul, but I have to start in a company because I wanted to have a build like the number one company in the area at that time. So we did that, over 90 to $100 million annual sale annually, right? But then I look at it and say, because sometimes, if I go on a listing presentation with the with the client, it happened to be like American born here in the U.S., right? You know, and I know when I sit down and communicate with them, and in the with the customer that born in the U.S., and I know most of the time, making the decision about selling the most important asset like their property or their home, it mostly, in American culture, we call it, like happy wife is a happy life, right? So mostly like, the spouse, the wife tendency to make the decision, to sell the asset or not to sell the asset. But but if I walk into like a Korean family or the East Indian family, or even a Vietnamese, asset, the property owner, a principal, right? If I were to sit down with them, if I were to use the same concept with an American bow, I probably, then I end up communicate with the wife, that in the culture like that, we have to respect that. If we walk into their home, we're respecting the culture, right? So, in those culture, it's totally opposite, right? So, again, if you want to bring the client to you, right, into your side, rather than telling them that, well, you live in America, you follow our American culture, that not be the way, to get the business, to get the listing for your side, right? So adapt yourself to the client. The stronger communication will definitely improve the result, right? So, culture versatility. So there are the way that you can develop versatility, right? And versatility to dealing with people that different than you are. For example, you know, you learn how to ask the question instead of having to speak, right? You know, and the more question you ask, the more we allow the other party to communicate and express their feeling and their thoughts, right? So, God create one mouth and two ears, right? So for a reason, because since we have like two ears and one mouth, that means we have to do twice of listening than talking. Because in asking the question, right, you're gonna be able to learn about the other client more and determine what personality they are. Where doctor, engineer, lawyer, not more analytical, but like four different personalities. So really, how do you do know? How do you do know that? Yes, you are happen to answer asking the question. So the second is, since we have two ears, we listening twice than we talking. We have to be carefully to what people are saying by paying attention. Um, if we're not paying attention, we are displaying the lack of interest in the other party, right? So by asking the question and listen carefully, we are allow ourselves, to get to know our client better. And the client will think, what they think and develop that we can present to them to improve the situation. So by listening to the client, that's the key. Because I see most of the time, that I train and coach entrepreneur, they end up to go in there, despite to know where the customer and the culture, where the customer coming from, and fail to identify what personality style of the customer. And then you walk in there, you listen, say, I am XYZ company, we are the number one company, we are number two, number three, then you lead the client out in the cold. But by listening to the client and asking an open-ended question, you'll be able to learn more about the client and their custom and their culture, and then develop a strategy to help them better and to get them on your side, right? So, the third thing that I wanted to share with you that I wrote down is that to develop the personality style, we have to quick to be right, right? We by having to be right all the time, you are shut down other people and other opinion and leave them out in the cold, And so, it's people don't care what you know, but they know how much you care, right? So, so shut, to develop a higher versatility to grow your business, expand your business in today's pandemic, market. You have to be quick to be right all the time. Learn about other people, right? Allow other people to express, right, their own opinion, and learn why they feel and the way that they do, to make it better. So so the so the so the idea that I wrote down here that, yeah, you put yourself in the situation that make you feel uncomfortable, right? If you want to grow as a human being, right? So you take those points I shared with you, and use them, right? So you go. So how do you develop more versatility to dealing with the people that different than you are, right? So I have a lot of great, um, great idea that I wanted to share with you. And so, in the next 3 week and 4 week, we definitely gonna go into the learning. Number one, in the culture and the custom of the client that different than you are, right? To deal with them, and not, and then we're gonna learn about the personality style, of the driver personality style, and how to effectively deal with this type of personality. And then you learn about expressive personality style, and and work with them better, right? And also work to to be with and to be on the side with expressive personality style. And then the final personality style is the analytical personality style. So you're gonna be try out some of this great idea and strategy when you're making a professional presentation to your client, right? And then start to do that. So as you can see, it takes time to learn this information, and as a professional, you you know you wanted to study this information a lot, not just on the personal relationship, but the business relationship as well, right? So that will gonna have a direct impact on your business and profit and then profitability of your company. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you those in the next few week program. And again, as always, appreciate you taking the time to listen to the program today, and hope you can push some of this idea and apply into your business and make your business grow. Have a great day. Thank you.